Morris with Consolidated Planning.
Hi, Dee. Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for coming in today. I just hit the record button.
Thank you. I'm very subject to forget that.
No problem. No problem. Just some housekeeping items before we get going. This is being recorded, and you will receive an email after we're finished sometime this afternoon that has all of my contact information and Dee's contact information. A link to our YouTube channel where this video will be housed. And usually we include the slides as well. So any information that you're going to need afterwards will be sent to you. We can't hear you or see you, but we know you're out there. If you have any questions, I would love for you to put those in the chat box. I did double check and make sure that the chat box is working correctly today. I had trouble with that in the past, Dee.
It seems to be good today so far.
Perfect. So I'm Michelle Morris with Consolidated Planning Group. We are a holistic financial planning firm. We focus on families that have special needs loved ones and planning for those special needs. You know, normal retirement planning typically includes maybe a retirement bucket of money for myself and a retirement bucket of money for my husband. But when you have a special needs child, you have to consider kind of a third bucket of money that can last that child once you're gone, to take care of them or pay for housing or, you know, whatever their needs are. And that's very important. Some people don't take that into consideration. So our company, really, our firm focuses on educating families and advocating for families, as well as the financial planning aspect. So there's our contact information there real quick, and we're going to have it again at the end of the presentation. You can call the office or reach the office at that email, contact@cpgcares.net. A couple of things that we do, you know, we do these webinars usually 2 or 3 times a week. Some of the things that we focus on are, you know, protection plans for your family, lifetime care and the costs of that care and how you're going to be able to pay for it. Transition planning, you know, when you're looking at what happens after high school, ABLE accounts, and of course, advocacy. Like I said, being part of the special needs community is really an honor for us. We're happy to be here today to help you. We're happy to work with Partners Resource Network, and to be here to help as much as possible. So today we're going to be talking about transitions and launching your special needs teen into adulthood. There's a lot that happens at that transitioning from high school to what happens after high school. And that's what we're going to really focus on today. So again, I see that a bunch more people have come in. So I'll just say real quick, we cannot hear you or see you, but if you have a question or comment, you can put that in the chat box and I'll try to answer those as we go. Also, this is being recorded and you'll get a copy once we're finished today. So first things first, it's important to have realistic expectations for your child. You know, when your child is diagnosed, I'm sure it hits like a ton of bricks and your mind is racing and what do we do now and what's going to happen? But you really need to take the time to understand both the challenges that you're going to face as a result of this diagnosis, but there's also strengths that come along with it. You know, perhaps part of your child's diagnosis is ADHD. And yes, there's some cons that come along with that. The inability to sit still maybe, but on the other hand, there are some things like the hyper-focused moments that might be seen as a positive. You want to see, you know, how you can balance the strengths and use those to help with the challenges as well that might come along. Maybe your child is going to take a non-traditional path, and that's okay. You know, not everybody has to follow the same path from grade school to middle school to high school to college and to a working job in the real world and be off on their own. Not everybody follows that path. Keep in mind that there are a lot of options out there, and you should consider all the options and help your child find what is right for them and what is right for their family. So maybe they don't get a driver's license right when they turn 16. That's okay. Maybe they're looking at a trade school or a community college, or just one or two classes at a time to see if college classes are even a good fit for them. Maybe getting in touch with the Texas Workforce Commission and their vocational rehab program would be beneficial for you and your family. There are apprenticeships that are available, registered apprenticeships. Like I said, you could just take a couple courses at a college and see how the fit goes. And think about the benefits of living at home and the supports that you would be able to give your child rather than having them live on campus. You know, whatever is better for you and your family. You know, some people say that if a flower is not growing where it is planted, you don't throw away the flower, you change his environment a little bit and you help it to grow. I like to look at it as popcorn. You know, I love to snack on popcorn, and you put all the kernels in the same pot over the same heat in the same oil, but they don't all pop at the same time. And that's okay. You cannot compare. And it's really hard because so many people say, oh, you know, my child walked at this age, my child talked at this age. And comparing is, you know, part of being a parent, but try not to compare your child to others. Let them thrive their own way. Let them pop when they're ready. Or, you know, look at the soil that they're growing. Look at if they need more sunlight or more water, if you're following the plant analogy. So sometimes your expectations and what actually comes might be different, and that's really okay. So try to keep those realistic expectations. Finding a good fit. Hold on one second. When you're thinking about a good fit for your family, you know, there's many different schools and colleges and programs available. Maybe it's a transition program, not a school or college at all, but kind of a day program. Maybe there are extracurricular activities that your child would enjoy, like working with horses or music or art or swimming. You know, who knows, whatever that might be, get them involved. And that's a great way to make friends and have new experiences, is to get out there and do what they love. If they can find something that they love that could also be turned into a career path, I mean, that's winning all the way around right there. If they love engines and working on cars, that would be a great career path that they could go into in the future. Maybe get a little taste of it through an extracurricular and then work towards a career path that would make a good fit. And you have to consider their work setting. You know, consider the challenges that they face and the work setting that might possibly come along, and think about, you know, is standing for hours on end going to be possible? Is a loud work setting going to be a good environment? Do they need quiet? Do they need teamwork, or do they prefer to be left alone? What fits your child? You can't just you know, one size does not fit all. You can't just squeeze every person into the same mold. And as a parent, it's really important to remember that and to find what fits. So there are some accommodations through the schools that you can look at. If you're coming up on SAT and AC tests, maybe AP exams, college course exams, anything like that. There are accommodations that can be made. You can contact the school or the testing company, for example, the SAT testing company. Contact them and see what kind of accommodations can be made for your student. You want to check on that early and be prepared ahead of time, because once you get to the testing site, it's far too late. You want to know what is going to happen, what requirements there are, and what can be done to help. Why are these accommodations that you're asking for necessary? You know, think about that before you call and ask, because that's what they're going to want to know. Why do you need this? Updated testing. You know, we recommend every 3 to 5 years that you update some of your testing. If you do IQ testing or things like that, medical testing even. And when it comes to schools, if you would like to talk to the school about your student, once they are 18 or above, you are going to need a FERPA, which the school needs to have on file. It's a form that they're going to need to be able to release information to you, the parent. When it comes to work-related accommodations, a reasonable accommodation is required if it doesn't pose undue hardship on the employer, right? So you can look at the Department of Labor website, which is dol.gov, and you can look at the Job Accommodation Network, JAN, askjan.org, for help with accommodations for work. So, we do have a question. I'll go ahead and read it out. My young adult is low functioning. Will this webinar cover DayHab programs? Yes, we will talk about that a little bit, and some of our other webinars also bring up that topic. We have had a great webinar with some of the residential facilities, which also include DayHab programs, and we're having another one October, I think mid-October. So keep an eye out for that to come up. That would be helpful too. So these are some of the options beyond high school, educational options that are out there. Now, we don't work for any of these colleges or any of these programs, and they don't work for us. These are just things that we're aware of. So as you go down this list, if you see something that, you know, you recognize, or you know, a neighbor went to this, or a cousin, or whatever. We don't work there, but you know, these are some good programs. The STEPS program at Austin Community College, the Non-Periel Institute, the CASE program at Texas Tech. There's all kinds of different programs available. So this list will be given to you in the slides that we're going to email to you afterwards. Bloom Consulting, again, we don't work for them and they don't work for us, but they are a company that we have referred people to in the past. They have a program called Campus Connections that helps support college students who have disabilities as they attend the post-secondary institution of their choice. They can provide in-person or virtual support. They use a wraparound planning process and the Berkman method assessment to build a support team for your student. And they provide a coach who gives them mentoring, guidance, and navigational support. So it's a really great program. Their contact information is down here below. Now, the cost is $1,000 per month, and it is a private pay. Or you can ask the VR counselor if there's scholarships available, your vocational rehab counselor. It really helps students be able to face the concerns and the hurdles that they're facing more effectively and efficiently, and gives them a better way to make choices for themselves and stand up for themselves. So it's a great program that helps really with students to be more autonomous. Okay, so when you're thinking about special needs planning, you're thinking about your child, and what do we even mean by special needs planning? Well, there's 5 things for you to think about. First of all, there's a big difference between a special needs planner and a special needs attorney. So an attorney who focuses on families with special needs loved ones is well versed in writing wills and special needs trusts and helping with guardianship, power of attorney, things like that. Whereas a special needs focused financial planner will help you with the financial side of things, coming up with a cost estimate for future care, coming up with ideas on how you're going to be able to leave enough in your estate to take care of your child for the rest of their life, helping you find money to fund a special needs trust or an ABLE account, setting that up and helping you fund the ABLE account. So you work with a special needs planner like Consolidated Planning Group to help you formulate a plan to financially support yourself and your family and your special needs child throughout their life. You do want to start by gathering up planning documents, any necessary documents. We do send a list, a checklist, but things we're looking for in the financial planning world include any planning you've already done. You know, what kind of savings do you have? What 401ks do you have? IRAs? Do you have a 529 plan? Do you have an ABLE account? Do you know what an ABLE account is? Once you gather your documents, we have a chance to look at them. I think of it as that junk drawer in the kitchen, you know, the drawer that has all the rubber bands and the dead flashlights and the scissors. Basically, if you think of that as your financial life, we're going to take that junk drawer and shake it out, get everything out of there, sort it out, figure out what you have and what you need and what works and what doesn't work and what maybe just needs a tweak, and then reorganize it for you and make recommendations and say, you know, you need this, you have too much of that. This is working great for you. Maybe we should change the settings on this thing. And we give it back to you in an organized fashion that makes sense. We kind of make calm out of chaos for you. Another thing, when you're looking at special needs planning, you want to think about developing a letter of intent. So what is that? A letter of intent is something that you can do at home. It's, you know, it does not require an attorney. It's something that you can put together yourself. It's better if you do it electronically because you're going to want to change your wording and changes things change in your life. But a letter of intent is kind of like a love letter to your family or for your family. So you are the person in your family who knows what's going on with medications and who the doctors are and what makes your child happy and what makes them angry and what do you do if they can't find that special thing they need to go to sleep with? And what is that special thing they need to go to sleep with? So a letter of intent is what you would write to kind of tell how to take care of your family. If somebody had to step in your place, something happened to you and you are unavailable, and someone has to step in and take care of your family and your loved one with special needs. This is going to tell them everything that they need to know, what they need to do, where things are kept, how to keep the peace, all of that kind of stuff. It can be quite long because, you know, you've probably forgotten more than anybody else, you know, would ever know about their family. I mean, there's just so much to know and so much to think about. But once you start putting it on paper, especially if it's in a Word document or something that you can go back and edit, maybe write a little bit each afternoon and let people know where this document lives in case somebody does need to get to it. And in your letter of intent, and in general, you should be thinking about your vision of how you want the future for your family and for your loved ones to be, and for your special needs child. Do you envision them working and living independently? Do you envision them with a caretaker? Do you envision them with, a volunteer role or a part-time job? Or what do you see for the future? Or just being safe and happy and healthy as possible? What is it that is right for your family? Those are the things that you need to start thinking about when you're thinking about planning for special needs. We do have, someone is asking if we have a template for the letter of intent, and we do. You can reach out to us and we can give you a template that gives you kind of a good place to start. But like I said, it comes from your heart and you know what your family needs. I would start with diagnosis and doctors and prescriptions, and it'll start flowing, I bet. I bet it'll flow from there. Okay, so more things to think about as you begin planning for your future and developing a future care plan. First of all, the sooner you start, the better. And it doesn't matter if your child is getting ready to transition to adulthood or if your child is still a toddler. It's the sooner you can get started, the more impact you will be able to have on your future in general. And if you haven't started yet, that's okay too, because we're not here to, yell at you or punish you for things that you haven't done yet. We're just here to look towards the future and, say, okay, this is a good path to be on and let's work our way down this path. So one thing that you can think about is, as you're planning, is how much money are you going to need to fund the special needs trust for your child? How much money are they going to need? How much does residential care cost, or partial residential care? And even though you might know how much it costs right now, do they need it right now, or do they need it in 20 years or 30 years once you're gone? So what is it going to cost then? And once they get into that residential care, and they're going to be there for 20 or 30 years, how much is it going to cost overall? These are estimates that we could help come up with, so that you know how much you really need to save. Another question that we get a lot and that you should be thinking about is, how do you maximize your Social Security benefits for the whole family? Many people, pardon me, many people think that because there's an increase for each year that you wait to take your Social Security after you hit your full retirement age, if you just keep waiting until you turn 70, you'll get the most amount of money. Well, that's not necessarily true, because there are other benefits to take into account that can, over time, maximize your family's benefits. So your disabled child will be able to get a benefit from your record, or your spouse's, or their stepdads or step-parents or birth parents. So they'll be able to get money from their record. If you have child in care situation going on, you're taking care of your special needs child, you could get a benefit from that. So with these other benefits in place, it might make sense for you to turn your Social Security benefit on earlier than what you thought. And now Social Security benefits that we're talking about here are different from the SSI, Supplemental Security Insurance benefits, Supplemental Security Income that we talk about when your child turns 18. It gets confusing. There's so many letters. It's like an alphabet soup with all the different acronyms, but we can keep them straight usually, and we'll help you get them straight too. Another thing that I know keeps a lot of you up at night is thinking about what is going to happen to your child when you're gone. And that is part of the future care plan that you need to think about. Who will take care of them? How will that be funded? What kind of situation would be best for them? And, making sure that you find a good place, whether it be relatives or a residential care facility. We don't always recommend relatives as the best place. Many parents say, oh, they have older siblings. That's not always the optimal solution. We want siblings to have a caring and supportive and loving relationship, but not an obligatory relationship. So that's just something to be careful of when you're thinking about what the future holds. Here are some things when you're looking at funding that care. First of all, you want to make sure that you don't do anything that would mess up your child's eligibility for the state and federally funded programs like SSI and Medicaid. It's very important, even if, Medicaid doctors, the doctors that are in network for Medicaid might not be your personal choice. And that's fine. Go to different doctors, but keep Medicaid, because you have to be able to have Medicaid to get the waivers and to get SSI. You have to remain eligible. It means you can't have more than $2,000 in your child's name unless it's in an ABLE account or a special needs trust. So you need to establish a special needs trust for their future care, for the money that needs to go into that. Think about life insurance for you and your spouse. You can use your life insurance as another way to pass money to your special needs child, to fund that trust, to make sure that there will be money to take care of them. It's a really good way to preserve wealth, to build wealth, and pass that along to your children. An ABLE account, which I mentioned. So most people have heard of the 529 college savings account. The 529C is what that's called. Well, the ABLE account is pretty much the same thing. It's just the 529A. And that you can contribute $16,000 a year into an ABLE account, and an additional amount, $12,880 if your child is working. The disability that they have must have begun prior to age 26. But this is a way that you can put money aside for them that won't be counted against them, and then it can be used to pay for their care. Okay, I see a question here. SSI is supplemental security income. Yes, thank you, Dee. I was tripping over my words there. So what do you need to know about ABLE accounts? You need to know that the beneficiary is the account owner, and the income earned in the account is not taxable. So that's really good. It saves some tax money there. Although you cannot deduct the contributions that you make to that from your income taxes, and maybe some state income taxes, but not federally. It does not jeopardize the SSI benefits or Medicaid benefits or any other federal or state benefits. So that's a bonus. It does help with benefits, supplemental benefits provided through SSI, Medicaid, and SSI. Oh, I need to change that. But there are special contribution limits. First of all, like I said, you can't put in more than $16,000 a year unless your child is working. And you don't want to have more than $100,000 in there total, because if you go over that, then it will affect your SSI and Medicaid benefits. So you don't want to have too much. That's why you should have both an ABLE account and a special needs trust. So more about the special needs trust and a little bit about guardianship. So these are things that a special needs attorney needs to take care of. They can help you with your will, your special needs trust, guardianship, power of attorney, things like that. The special needs trust, like I said, it's another place where you can put money that will keep your child eligible for their benefits. It won't affect them. Guardianship, you can start thinking about guardianship once you are within 6 months of your child's 18th birthday. Now, it does take away some rights, and there are definite pros and cons. The attorney will be able to talk to you about that and help you decide what is right for your family situation. And they're also looking at the least restrictive available option for your family. So that's kind of what the law recommends. And like I said, you will have to have an attorney, qualified attorney, prepare these documents. So I see that somebody asked about the ABLE account, how old your child, how old must the child be to create an ABLE account? You can create an ABLE account at any time. There's no limit on how old your child needs to be. Another question just popped up that we will get to as well. One thing that I want to mention here, having your attorney set up the special needs trust and guardianship, power of attorney, medical power of attorney, things like that, that you might consider also for any child you have who is 18 years old or older, that you have a medical power of attorney, even if they don't have any special needs. The reason for that, for example, my child is 21. He's currently in Chicago going to college. If something were to happen to him, nobody is required to let me know. I'm sure I'm listed as an emergency contact with the school, but if he gets hit by the L train in Chicago and ends up in the hospital and they don't contact the school who has me listed, there's no law that they have to contact me because he's an adult, right? So it's good to have a power of attorney medical for older kids, any kids, really. Some additional resources that we have listed out here for you. So when we email you these slides, you'll be able to copy and paste into your browser to go to these websites. But we have Dude, Where's My Transition Plan? The Oregon Transition Handbook is very helpful. And there's a site called texasrealitycheck.com that are helpful. There's some great residential programs. Again, we don't work for them and they don't work for us, but when you receive the slides after this, you'll be able to have all this information written down for you. And these are programs that we know of and that come highly recommended. The Monarch School and Institute in Houston. It says students in our transition services program receive residential, academic, social, and employability opportunities for Monarch graduates and other young adults in the community. Participation in this program provides your young adult with a plan, an opportunity for practice, and a place for their evolution. Another residential program that we know of is the Advanced Immersive Transition Program, again in Houston. In 2017, the leadership at Gateway Academy launched the Advanced Immersive Transition Program, a post-high school program for young adults with learning and social differences who yearn to experience their highest level of independence. So you can call Michelle Henderson at the Advanced Immersive Transition Program if you want more information about that one. Reach Unlimited is in Cyprus. Again, we are We live in the Houston area, and so it seems like many of these are focused on the Houston area, but we have resources all over Texas. And if you reach out to us, we can help you find, if Houston is not convenient for you, we can help you find more. Anyway, Reach Unlimited is the most comprehensive provider of services for people with IDD in the greater Houston Northwest. Clients come to Reach Unlimited to live, learn, and earn. They're served by a staff of 195 and a growing number of volunteers. Programs include 19 group homes, home and community-based services, and a center for lifelong learning. What about gap years? There are residential programs available just for a gap year. This one happens to be in Massachusetts, the Dynamy internship year. Dynamy internship year is a non-therapeutic domestic gap year program in Massachusetts that offers career exploration through professional internship opportunities, apartment living, practical skills workshops, one-on-one advising and mentoring, and optional college courses. Students at Dynamy gain real-world and real-life experiences that will prepare them for college, a career, and beyond. So again, we have a lot of resources here in Texas and all over the country that we can inform you about. It says here that Monarch also has a transition services program that is day only. So it's not just residential. The day hours are roughly 8:30 to 3:30 daily. Okay. Some more things here to think about, and this will answer one of the questions that I saw come up. Other things that should be on your radar. The special needs care plan, you know, we've been talking about that several times, but we can help you develop a comprehensive, personalized care plan for your loved one, for your family. Future care cost estimates. Not just what care costs right now, but what will it cost in 20 or 30 years, and then for a 20 or 30 year period. Making sure that you are on the Texas waivers interest list. Those lists can be 15 to 17 years long in some cases, but it's worth it. So make sure you're on those lists, and if you need help with that, let us know. SSI and SSDI benefits. There's a difference between the two, and you need to know when and how to apply. So SSI should begin when your child turns 18. You have to call your local Social Security office to apply for those benefits. And we can help make sure that you apply correctly and you get the most benefit that you are entitled to. ABLE accounts. We've been through that a little bit. We can help you get set up with one. Many different states have ABLE accounts, and some private companies can do them as well. Beneficiary designations. So you want to make sure, because of that $2,000 rule, that you don't have your special needs loved one listed as a beneficiary on any of your accounts. We're talking about life insurance, bank accounts, things like that. Because if something were to happen to you and your special needs loved one suddenly inherits $1 million, boom, they don't qualify for other benefits. So that kind of stuff needs to be left to a special needs trust. So that brings me to the next point, special needs trusts, how to fund them, how to set them up properly. The attorney is the paperwork side of your special needs trust, and the financial planner is the financial side of the special needs trust, how to make sure that there's going to be money in there to fund it. Child support, this goes to the question that I saw. If your child is going to receive child support beyond age 18, it needs to go into a first-party special needs trust. That will make it so that it doesn't count as income, and they would be able to get their benefits without having that messed up. Someone is asking if a child already receives survivor SSI for the loss of a parent, would they still qualify for special needs SSI? So survivor SSI is the SSDI, I believe, or RSDI. Again, it's like an alphabet soup over here. But no, you don't get both. You get whichever one is highest. And typically the survivor benefits are going to be more than the special needs benefits. So you get whichever one is higher. And we do have entire webinars that go through SSI that you can check out on our YouTube channel. So if you think that a residential living facility might be part of your future plan, you should consider touring those early. They can also have long wait lists, 5 to 7 years, something like that. So you want to start touring those and start getting a feel for what might be right for your family. Get on the waiting list. And then if your name comes up and you're not ready, or you decide that that's not the place for you, then you can just tell them no big deal. We do have a residential living panel coming up in October. We've had one before. Part 2 is coming in October, where it's kind of going to be a speed dating for the residential places. So they'll tell you who they are, who they take, what they cost, maybe a little bit about each facility. And that's a very helpful webinar. So make sure to tune in for that. Guardianship, alternatives to guardianship, power of attorney, healthcare power of attorney. We talked about that. The state is going to want you to have the least restrictive option that will fit your family. An attorney does need to help you with that. And consider having some of these things in place even for your neurotypical children who aren't children anymore. And the guardianship process, again, like I said before, you can start within 6 months of their 18th birthday. And then, of course, we have the post-high school education options. I showed you a list earlier, and that will be sent to you after this webinar is over. So this is Consolidated Planning Group. Like I said, we live just outside of Houston. Allison and Jeff are the owners of the company. They live in Sugar Land, and they have 4 kids together, and 2 of them have special needs. And that's really why our company focuses so much on education and advocacy. There's myself and my husband. So there's 2 husband and wife teams. We have a 21-year-old and an 18-year-old. And I used to be a teacher and a realtor. And he was in corporate health and safety world. And then we have Meredith, who helps set up all these great webinars. So we really are a small family-focused boutique style firm. When you call us, you're just calling us. You're calling my cell phone or calling the office where we have a couple girls sitting waiting to answer the phones. And we do strive to provide the best, highest level of service that we can for our clients. I'll talk about this real quick, and then I think Dee has a survey for us. So we always do a free initial consultation. So if you're interested, you have questions remaining after this webinar, or you just want to chit chat about your personal situation and see if we can help, you can set up a free consultation. We'll hear a little bit more about your family and ask you some questions about yourself and your situation. And then we try to answer as many of your questions as possible up front. Then we'll tell you how we work and see if we would be a good fit to move forward together. So all you have to do, I think pretty much everyone knows how to use these QR codes by now, but just in case, you open up your camera app on your cell phone and you hold it up, and you put this weird looking QR code box in the camera, and a link will pop up. When you click that link, it will take you straight to our calendar system. So you can make an appointment for whatever time works best for you. Or if it's easier, you can call our office at the 281-690-1177 or email contact@cpgcares.net. All of our webinars, after they're done, they go to our YouTube channel, which is listed there. And you should probably also follow our Facebook page just to make sure that you're in the know on all of the tips and tricks and hints that we have for you. Dee, do you have a survey for us?
Yes, I do have a survey for us. That helps us to maintain our nonprofit status and provide free services to all the parents that come to us. We do have a couple of questions in the question and answer box that you may want to address. And I'm going to go ahead and pop this survey up, but I do want to say how much I appreciate you and the rest of the team at Consolidated Planning for addressing these issues. Having a child with any level of ability, special needs or not, and preparing for their future is a scary business. Anything you can do to make it easier, I appreciate that so much. And so
You're so welcome. We're honored to be here.
Thank you. And I'll get this poll started. And I'd like to thank everyone that's in attendance today for their support and interest.
I don't get to take the poll.
No, if you are a speaker, you can't evaluate yourself.
Sorry. I mean, I know that I would give myself really high marks, even though I tripped over my words several times.
Okay, so I'm hoping everybody can see this because on my end, there we go.
Yes, I can see it really well, and it looks like answers are coming through. Remember, guys, this only takes you a second and it helps them keep their funding. So it's important that as many of us answer these questionnaires as possible.
And I know that one of the questions was, can you open an ABLE account prior to applying for SSI?
Yes, you can open an ABLE account at any time. And if you have any follow-up questions, if you don't understand anything, feel free to reach out to us. We're happy to clarify or refresh your memory as needed.
We have a thank you in the Q&A box.
Fantastic. I decided I'm not going to look at the answers to the survey. My ego can't handle it.
It's okay.
I appreciate you having me today. Like I said, you'll get an email here in the next couple hours with the slide deck and a link to the webinar, as well as my contact information and Dee's contact information, so you can get in touch with us if you have any questions or would like to make an appointment or anything like that.
Okay, well, I'm going to end the poll.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much. Have a great week. Go out there and kick some booty.
Well, thanks again, Michelle. I appreciate you and everybody at Consolidated so much.
You're welcome. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.